She has a strong, confident voice. And I bet she never has to shout to be heard. What I'm referring to is her voice, her perspective. When she talks, I bet everybody listens. She has the wisdom and opinions of a lifetime to share with us, but won't unless you ask. She is modest and humble, intelligent, and very, very funny. She has that easy way that makes you feel welcome in her world and included immediately. And I learned all of these things about her in just a 5-minute phone call. I was on a walk along the pebble trail that follows the bluffs above Ledbetter Beach. It was a hot afternoon and I was walking pretty fast. I was out of breath. My phone rings. I look at the screen and it's Meredith Baxter. This was a call I had been waiting for literally years. I had been tracking her down, hoping to appeal to her to be a guest on this show and share a conversation with me. And so, out of breath, I answered the phone. Within a minute, she asked, "Why do you want to talk to me? I'm not sure I have any stories." I was taken off guard. I'd been thinking of topics of conversation to discuss with her for years, but now I went blank. So I just replied, "You're interesting to me." And that's the truth. Aside from playing the mom to my alter ego on Family Ties, she's an incredibly talented writer, penning the New York Times best-selling autobiography, Untied, a memoir of family, fame, and floundering. She's also a painter and an artist. She beat breast cancer and then founded the Meredith Baxter Foundation for Breast Cancer Research. She established a successful skincare line that supported her foundation. She's a loving mother to 5 children, and she has been sober since 1990. She is a rarity in Hollywood for more than a few reasons, but here's two. She has had a successful Hollywood career for over 40 years, and she's an actress who is actually from Hollywood. What do you mean you don't have any stories to share, Meredith? Most importantly, Meredith has lived. And what she has learned about life is something I have learned from her. And so will you. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Welcome, Meredith.
Welcome. Oh my gosh, Jeremiah, you're good.
Say
I'm
that again.
interested now. Now
Let
I
me,
want, can I leap in and correct something you had asked me about, and I neglected to answer this. I loved having my breast cancer foundation. I loved having the line of skincare products that funded it, but neither one exists anymore. Just
yeah,
says,
I was going to bring that up. I thought that was the fact because I was looking online to see if I could find a website or not. But I mean, what first, I'm so happy that you beat cancer, and second, I mean, how do you turn from that? It's got to be exhausting and just devastating until it isn't anymore, and draining. And then you turn around and you do something unselfish like start the foundation and donate funds from your skincare. I mean, I bet there's a lot of people out there that thank you for that. I
well,
thank you for that.
thank you. It just seemed like a nice thing to do, and I knew that a lot of different companies had done that, and it was just a way to give back a little bit, and it interested people in purchasing the products because they said, "Oh yeah, and it does this other thing." So it just
Well,
it well, and I liked it a lot.
yeah, I like companies that do that too. It seems, when you like the Bomba socks, you buy one, someone else gets a pair, and you buy
Yes,
skincare and
those are good songs.
those are good socks.
Yeah,
Everybody I know wears them, and I don't know why I have not bought some yet. You just inspired me. All right. So, what I find most interesting, Meredith, about your story is your self-discovery that you go through in the pages and that we go along, we take that trip with you. Um, the wisdom that you gain from examination of what you were feeling at particular times in your life, they're like markers of enlightenment. And like I told you this off the air, like the lyrics to a great love song or just a great song, I related to your words, to your experience. And I discovered things about myself the more I read. So there's a human connection within these pages of this book. It's a really great book. Again, it's Untied. I want the listeners to go pick up a copy. It's out in print. I got mine on Amazon. So you confront the realization that early childhood experiences led to untruth you told yourself, and then you spend a lifetime slowly unraveling them. This, you had me at these words. I'm going to read them if you don't mind.
Yeah.
They're in the first few pages of the book, Untied, and you write, as a child, I was held captive by feelings of fear, shame, anger, loneliness, and a profound sense of being unloved. I developed a belief system about myself based on these feelings that shaped and directed the trajectory of my life. I was defined by that thinking and then undone by it. Every decision and relationship was governed by it. I wanted to see myself as a victim because if I were a victim, I wasn't responsible. Those words are so powerful, and I think I really related to them. And I think everybody can relate to that. Such a universal human story, needing love, acceptance. We need
Yeah.
it, as much as we need water. How did that profound feeling you had, that overwhelming sense of being unloved, first begin for you? When did you first start to feel that way?
Oh, I think it's just something that I never thought about it. And just at one point, I think it probably wasn't until I was sober that, in the process of getting sober in a 12-step program, um, I, it was demanded that I start asking questions of myself. Now, I had to see, okay, this stuff happened. What's my part? How did I contribute to the difficulties in my life? I
Hmm.
can't just stand back and go, oh, it wasn't my fault, because it desperately was. And that's where the growth came for me. And so much of it came from seeing that, oh, I saw myself as a woman with a grocery cart. And that grocery cart is full of all my hurts and damage and losses and abandonment. And I pushed that all the time. And if you were going to meet me, you had to go through my cart with me before you were going to get close to anything that
Hmm.
was important to me. Because I thought that was me. I didn't think I existed beyond that. And so I'm sorry, you're just going to have to sit here and go through that with me. And it was a long time for me to understand that's not cool. And it keeps it all going in my head. It just reconfirms the ideas that I am a victim, that I wanted you to feel sorry for me. Because if you felt sorry for me, that meant you saw me, you appreciated everything I went through, and you felt bad for me. I was happy because that was the sum of what I was looking for.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm. You say also that to know you, you've got to first know your mother,
yeah,
Nancy Ann Whitney, stage name Whitney Blake, um, great actress. You said you felt abandoned by her. Was
yeah.
that because she placed her acting career ahead of everything else and didn't have much time?
Well, I tell you, it's more complex than that, but it's important that I tell this. Um, Certain things happened, so things happen in our lives, and we decide something about them without ever really consciously knowing it. They just kind of settle in. That's how you build your belief system. So I knew that she got married very young. She married my father, who was a pathological liar, and she wanted to be an actress. Oh, she wanted to be an actress more than anything in the world. And they met in Pasadena City College, acting and acting school. And she got married to get out of her house, and so they did get married, but she just wanted to act. But instead, she got pregnant once, twice, 3 times. I was the third one. And she was looking with horror because this wasn't what she wanted. It's not what she wanted. She wanted out there. She wanted to be out there in the world, making an impact. Instead, she's sitting here. And I felt that disappointment. I felt, that she thought we were impediments to her career, which logically we kind of were. But I interpreted that as lack of love. So when she did start acting, she had to divorce my father and marry her agent. And she did start acting, but we were pushed aside. My 2 older brothers and I were kind of pushed aside. And she gave us to our stepfather, Jack Fields, big muck in Hollywood at the time. He was a big theatrical agent. And he sort of owned us at that point. And she went and did what she needed, and he did the best he could. Kudos to some guys who take on 3 children. Well, we were 7, 8, and 9, I think, at the time. And it's a lot to think that he can handle, but he did the best he could. Did I find fault with it? You betcha I did. And was he clumsy? Very, very controlling. He was military. He came from the military, so he gave us what he knew. And I saw my mother as someone who was just out there. Didn't really interact with us. Really. And so I really felt that she didn't love us, and there were no pictures of us because people didn't know she had children. So anyone who came to the house, she didn't want somebody going, well, who's that? So if anyone saw us, we were the niece and nephews. And she did her best to make sure no one saw us. Or we would come and stay with her for a while when they were having a party, and we would serve drinks to people. And then we would just be explained away as distant, niece and nephew.
And the way that you interpreted her, I don't want to say lack of interest, but her interest in being put in other places and not on you, and the way that you interpreted that, what did that do for you and your self-esteem? Did it damage you all, for many, many years? Was it something that was something that you thought about and felt about yourself, the way you looked at yourself for years?
It totally shaped me, Jeremiah. It took me down because that was what I thought was true. And any of this other stuff I came to understand later on the work that I did in the program. But at the time, I was just hurt, abandoned, unloved, and unlovable. I thought that's kind of the way it was. And that kind of thinking sort of directed me as I went through my life, and it determined every relationship. It was like, well, okay, yeah, sure, I'll go with you. I'll go out with you. Okay. Because I didn't know I could say no. I didn't have any agency. I didn't have any sense of what I wanted. What did I look for in anybody? I never looked for anything in anybody. I looked for somebody.
Approval.
You. It was kind of indiscriminate in that sense. It's just, so I wound up getting married very young. I got married at 19 and had my first child at 19. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I never gave any thought to what I wanted to do. I didn't know I could pick what I wanted. I never thought about anything. It's just get through this situation, whatever it is. And so I went to, I got married to Robert, who's a nice guy, but we were so young. Oh man. And I had my first child at 19 and my second, that was Ted, and my second child.
You had your own little Pacific Northwest adventure as well.
Oh,
Northwest adventure, anyway.
Oh yeah, this was wild. it was he was coming up for the draft, and he started to look into what other people were doing at that time. He didn't to avoid the Vietnam War, and so we signed up to be landed immigrants in Canada. And so I think we bought books. We might have looked through a few of them. How to farm, because the plan was they would give you a certain amount of property, as I understood this, that you had to improve within a certain period of years. And if you were able to follow that and improve that land, they would deed it to you. Maybe it may not be it at all, but that's what I thought. So we moved to Canada. We sold everything we had, took that $60 and headed out the door. And I took a baby and a dog and me and Robert. And we went to join my brother Brian and his girlfriend Bonnie, who had been in Canada for like a year or so. And they were also trying to be landed immigrants. And they were in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And they worked on a farm where she was the cook on a wood burning stove and a cranked laundry washer. And Brian, my brother Brian, castrated pigs.
Oh,
Hollywood High graduate, castrating pigs. That was what he was into.
but I loved how you described that time. You were free finally. You were,
Oh, yeah.
even though it was hard, you were just like, it sounded like that was maybe one of the first times you had realized how happy you were in
Yeah.
those, you know, first 20 years of your life.
Yeah, because I was out from under, I wasn't looking, or it didn't matter what Whitney, my mother was Whitney. It didn't matter to me what she said, because I never heard it. I didn't have to hear anything. I didn't have to hear from Jack, my stepdad either. And so we were just doing it ourselves. Very poorly, may I say. We lived in abject poverty in an apartment, in a house. We lived in the basement of this many bedroomed house that so when you walked from one room to the other, you had to duck under these big vented pipes that took the heat all the way to the other parts of the house. And there was a little bathroom way over there, and a bedroom over here, and then a kitchen over there with a living room. And Robert and I slept in the living room, and Brian and Bonnie slept. So they actually had a bedroom because, she was pregnant. That's why. You got to have someone pregnant on your So we were there
That scenario, yeah.
but we didn't stay. We did not become landed immigrants because we said I guess we realized the property they were going to give us was in the Northwest Territories. Changed it changed everything, but it should have stopped long before we ever got there. We were such nincompoops, really. Just
I like your description. I was trying to find it right now. I think you said something like I had this, I had this sense of dirt or something like that. You were just, you were looking back at yourself and go, what was I thinking? Well,
yeah.
um, did you ever, your mom, did you ever, I don't know, forgive her? Were you able to tell her how you felt and come to a conclusion there, or a resolution?
Well, I'll tell you, for the longest time, I didn't want to forgive her because in my understanding, and it was a part of the program, again, the 12-step program is to come to terms with our lives and acceptance and be able to forgive. And I couldn't get to that because I felt to forgive her would mean to be saying, it wasn't so bad.
Hmm.
It wasn't so bad. And I couldn't say that.
Mm.
It crushed me. And so I was holding on to that. My pride had me holding on to that to a lot longer than I needed to.
Hmm.
And she got esophageal cancer in 2001. She told us about it in February and she was dead by September. And it really wasn't until after she died that I was able to say something. I was just not capable. But I did spend those months helping her, taking her to doctors, spending time with her, spent the night in the hospital with her, and ask her questions about her life and stuff. Like she sat up in bed and talked to me like she was a schoolgirl. She was so excited to do that. And I wrote down things, and it was probably the closest we'd ever been. But
Do you feel closure?
I did. I did because I was able to look back at her life through the lens of what it was like for her, not what it was like for these kids. Kids are
Yeah.
gimme, 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 me. And she was doing the best she could, given the tools and information she had at the time. Did it
Yeah.
suck? Yep. But I did a lot of things that really sucked too, and my kids survived. We just do the best we can.
Yeah, that's true.
And if we
That's true.
could do better, we would do better. She just didn't have an opportunity to.
So you're crediting a lot of your introspection and your coming to grips with things that happened to you in your life with the 12-step program.
Absolutely.
Was it, but it feels to me when I'm reading your book that you have a gift of being able to look at feelings, your feelings, and then analyze them in a very logical way. Did that, are you saying that came later? It wasn't like when you were young, you had clarity on a lot of this stuff. It came to you at later in life after you were able to examine everything at a more mature age.
I'm sad to say, I hate to pop that little bubble, but this sounds good. But I was a know nothing. I was unself-examined. I only paid attention to what my hurts were. And when you're damaged, you're damaged. And
Hmm.
my damage kind of shut that all down. So I had no capability. But there's the blessing, and I know I will probably talk about that a lot. The program showed me how to look at things, how to change my attitude. But think about this. Look at from over here. What did she want in her life? What did she want that she wasn't getting? What heartbreak did that bring about? What kind of character defects did she wind up having because of that? Well, it's grabbing anything you can for yourself. Because now you're married to this guy who was a total liar, then you're married to this agent who's also very self-serving. So she was out there looking. She married one more time, and that was her love match, I think, to Alan Manners. But she wasn't a happy woman. It's not like she was going around going la 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 la. I'm so happy. I don't care that you're not. That wasn't the story.
That was it.
Yeah.
Well, I look at my parents and I know they were young. My mom had me when she was 18 and my dad
Woo.
wanted to be a musician and he was a carpenter and my mom, I don't know, she wanted to be a photographer and now she's a young mom with 3 kids. And you look back and you say, well, they had to sacrifice things as well that we have no clue about when we were kids.
Yeah.
I think it's healthy if you can look at it that way. But when you're a kid, all you want is love. All you want is all of those things that everybody else has. And
Yeah.
as a teenager, you wrote that you felt restless, listless, lonely, irritable, discontented, rudderless, untethered. In other words, it sounds like a teenager,
Yeah.
but those are real feelings that you don't know how to deal with at that time. Do you have any advice for teenagers who are maybe
Um,
listening and feeling like you did, what is the best way for them to understand what they're feeling, or can they? Is there anything you can tell them?
well, I'm not in the advice business at all, but and I don't know
What would you do differently?
if
I mean,
I
I think most kids drink, right? They do kind of what you all do
yeah
when you're a teenager.
you know
You discover drugs. You.
I would suggest talk to people,
Mhm.
because what my problem was, and many kids' problem is, that we don't have anyone else to say it to, and say, what does that sound like to you? Because we have our story. our spin on our story, and we play it and we play it and we play it and we play it and we dress it up, put some makeup on, put that pig out there and make people listen to it and laugh and feel sorry for us. So it's the same thing. It's just reinforcing the same story.
Right.
We got to go out and say, and let someone listen to us and go, oh, that must have been really hard. Did you think about this? Did you get any of this? Would this have worked? And you get some feedback. I had no feedback. I never talked to anybody. I was just really shut down. And the people I wound up marrying, they weren't interested in talking to me either. And David, he said, I'm not your doctor. I'm not talking about this stuff.
And it
But
wasn't, and people didn't talk a lot then, did they? I mean, that's really
oh, I
something
bet
I
they
think
did.
that's, you think they did?
Yeah. Just we weren't talking because I
Yeah.
was, I was unskilled in that. I just didn't know about it. And I had no one to do it with. I know it was going around somewhere. Somewhere people were sitting and talking in cafes or bars or whatever.
Why did Vivaldi's Gloria affect you so profoundly? You wrote about it a few times in the book, and so I went to listen because I was curious. Why did it affect you so much when you were young?
Well, it affected me when I went to Interlochen Arts Academy, where my stepfather, Jack, and I'm sure he paid my way in. I couldn't have auditioned my way in, although I did audition. But this was I didn't know it was a classical music school, but it was for all of the arts. It's an amazing place. I was blessed to have even my senior year in high school there. But I wanted to be in choir because I love to sing. And my audition tape was me singing, I'm just a girl who can't say no. And I thought I did okay, send it in. And I got accepted. So I thought, oh, well, I'm probably all that. And so I go in to get into choir the first day. Everyone's lying. And they said, we're going to do some sight reading on this one. Sight reading. What is sight? You look at it and you read it. I don't know. I couldn't read music. But so he goes, the downbeat, Mr. Jewell goes, downbeat. And they start, la dame uste, la dame uste. I'm like, not what? It's in Latin. And these people are sight reading the Latin to the Vivaldi Gloria. And I'm thinking, I can't say. I just was so out of my depth, but I loved the music. It just spoke to me. It was so grand and emotional. And so I always loved it. And here's a cool sidebar. My middle daughter, Kate, who is a professor of archaeology and Greek at Wesleyan University. She also is very gifted in music, and she has put on concerts. And she knew because I loved most of this. She had us do the Vivaldi Gloria. She got an orchestra. She got a choir. My sister, her sister Molly, and I, and she all came and sang in this, and it was momentous. And it was just
Wow.
my that time, that year of high school back for me again.
Wow. Well, thank you for explaining. I'm actually going to play it here in the show here. So here's one of the stories that I thought was so sweet, and you put me there, like on in backstage with you. You describe trying out for the National Velvet when you were 12. You were chosen out of hundreds. Went down to four. And then you talk about running around backstage with the other girls that were auditioning and just being a kid, laughing. You described the excitement and the happiness you felt backstage. I think it was at NBC lot.
Yeah,
So
I was on, no, it was MGM.
MGM. It was so vivid, the description. And when you didn't get the part, your stepdad Jack told you it was because you were too unprofessional and you played around too much, which turned
Right.
out to be untrue. The story stood out to me because in the book, in your youth, you don't tell too many stories of experiencing pure joy as a child. There's just a few. Most of them that you tell happened in your teenage years and later, but this was this was a story that um, I don't know, you could just feel the joy that you had and the memory that you had on the set. How did that experience affect you? And then being a child and experiencing joy and excitement for doing something that was getting you attention, but then being yanked from that by rejection. I mean, that seems like
Yeah,
two conflicting emotions that must have been painful.
that was a real slap down. I mean, I I don't know that was his style all the time, but I think he wanted to me to not be an actress or something. I don't know. And I didn't know. I was 12. I was
Okay.
12. Um, I didn't have a lot of friends. I'm very, regressive, recessive, all of that. Um, and so to have these girls that are kind of like built-in playmates for the day,
Hmm.
just I was beside myself. It was so cool. And they let me run around with them. And I guess we did. Um, and so it was primary. It was far more important to me than the rehearsal, except then to find out that I didn't get it. Of course, that killed me anyway. But
Was that the first sting of Hollywood and rejection?
yeah, that was it. I
Yeah.
remember I
Yeah.
just went face down on my bed, just sobbing,
Yeah.
sobbing.
Oh.
My life is over.
But describe for me, if you would, this is a little bit off topic, but what do you feel when you walk on a sound stage or backstage at a theater or onto a lot? What feelings come up for you? Is it like high school, when you go back to your high school after many years or an old house that you used to live in? What's that feeling that you get having spent so many years on sets and backstage?
Backstage is singular to it. It's a theater. It's it's different. It's a lot of excitement. It's a fear. Um, it's exposure.
Yeah.
Um, but
I
it's
love the smell of backstage.
oof, yes, and the musty curtains.
Yeah.
My brothers and uh, because Whitney worked in from the Pasadena Playhouse, my brothers and I we had free reign of downstairs. And I think I wrote about this.
Yeah, that's another
We
story I like.
played with all the props in the prop room and we try on the wardrobe and we got caught doing it and shoot out of there, but we always went back. But that was just, we owned the bowels of the Pasadena Playhouse. Um, and so often when I haven't done a job for a while and a film or something, and I go in, I sit in the makeup room, and the makeup room is a trailer, long rows of mirrors and long about six sometimes makeup chairs in there. And I sit there and it's like, I'm here again. And it's just a nice feeling.
Mhm.
It's a nice feeling because I always liked hair and makeup people. I could talk to them far easier than the person doing the lights or the director even. It's just I liked them because they were just easier, no fuss and no pretense.
So what did you want to be when you grew up? I mean, given the relationship you had with your mother and the resentment you felt towards her for her acting career, did you really want to be an actor? I mean, was that a strong desire?
No, I never wanted to.
What did
The
you want to
only
be?
you assume that there was something. You know what? That's not true. I think if I could have, if it's on a fantasy, I would never thought of making this real. I wanted to be Shirley Jones.
Hmm.
I wanted to sing. I wanted to sing Oklahoma and South Pacific and um, um, my My Fair Lady. Not that she was in that one too, but I knew all the musicals. I mean, I would have made a good gay guy. I was just into every single one of them. And I knew all the words, and so, but I thought I would love to be Shirley Jones. But I just couldn't. I don't think I sang well enough, and so that wasn't happening. But I was in that first marriage, and I knew this was not happening. That I was going to die there. So I asked my stepfather would he send me out on a job or two so I could just make some money so I could get out of the marriage and, take care of, I had two little
And you
children.
had children at this time,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, Teddy and Eva. And
Were you worried? Now you're a single mother of two, right? And
yeah.
you go to work like you're describing. Were you worried that patterns would repeat when you entered the movie industry or the film industry
Well, I never
for your
thought,
children?
I, I never thought about that because, um, I didn't do what Whitney did. When I came home from work, first thing I did, I was in there with the kids. I mean, all the time. When I wasn't working, I was at every soccer meet, every swimming meet. When you can't even tell who it is, it's swimming. I was at everything because I was in drama at high school, and she never came to anything. I did was 7 years on Family Ties. She didn't come, and I did it by myself. So I was going to be there.
You were a different person.
Yeah, and I remember going into one of the first jobs interviews I had, and what I remember is that my mother had lied about her age and hid us. So I remember going into one of my first interviews and saying, "Hi, my name is Meredith Baxter. I'm 25 and I have two children." Yeah, oh, okay. But I had to say that I had to do that. And then once I went in for an audition, and Jack, my stepfather, was my agent, and he had one of his other agents go in and talk to whoever I was interviewing with. And then he said, "I have to go. I've got to do something important, not with you." And he left, and I went in to sit down for the interview, and the guy said, "So I understand you've done this show and this show." And I said, I haven't done anything." He'd lied. And did he think I was going to get a job based on his lie?
It
It
would have
just,
been nice if he told you.
yeah. Oh, I was so horrified, and so and I was, I wanted to be a truthful person there.
That's good. I like that about you, among many other things. And so let's just go forward a little bit. Now you're on Family Ties, the number two most popular TV show in the country.
Really?
28 million viewers weekly. Did you finally feel accepted?
Here's I think it's a mistake to look at that and think it means anything about me. They like the show. Yay, they love the show. And I'm glad they did. And people would say, "Meredith, really love you on the show." And it's like, "Thank you." It never touched it. I don't know why. I just didn't feel like it was about me.
Hmm.
They're talking about who they saw there, and that person had great writers and she knew what to say, and she had great relationships. But I was in a marriage that was killing me, and I didn't know how to be that person that they were seeing. So
So you're experiencing this great success and joy, could be bringing joy, but on the backside, your family life is distracting from that.
yeah, but I compartmentalized everything. When I was at work, the other rest of it didn't exist. This was where it was hard in terms of the kids. That I only had this, and when I went home, I was all home. But I couldn't let home come into the work because I was working with people who liked
Where did you like to be more during that time? Which family?
me. Well, one was real and one wasn't.
Hmm.
Um, I loved
I
being
hear your co-host.
yeah, it is. Um, I I couldn't I couldn't I had to do both separate. So I don't even know how to say it, but there wasn't a
Yeah.
favorite, my life, the depth of my love for my children. I was there, but not while I'm here.
When we were talking the first time off air, a few weeks back, I think you said to me, I pretty much quit Hollywood. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do, I don't do a lot of interviews. I don't do that anymore. I don't play that game. Is that true? Have you quit Hollywood, do you think? And
Well, I think it's a joint effort. I
yeah.
think they helped. They quit me, and I quit them. Um, the difficulties are now it's because we live in Santa Barbara. If a job comes by, they want me to come down to Hollywood and interview. I can't do that.
Mm.
It's like it's at least 3 hours round trip and all that. And so I've been doing it on Zoom. And what happens? I would get presented with a job that's this character description is 65-year-old actress. Person we need here, and she could do this and this and this and this kind of character. And they'll say, Meredith, sounds great, right? I said, yes, except for the part where it's 60, 65. I get on the Zoom here with these folks, and they look at me and they go, I see them go, 865. I don't want to try to pass myself off as 65. It's humiliating. I totally accept how old I am. You know, if I were, it just, there's no argument. It's what it is. So I, it felt,
Well, they're missing out because I just saw your sizzle reel, and there are some scenes in there that I'm like, in a minute, you're like, you pulled me in. You are a great actor.
well,
That's
thank you.
their loss.
Thank you. And I liked it. I thought I did some really good auditions, and
Yeah.
they'd say, you nailed it. Bye. And then I never get it because they look, they want a look. I think even if it's playing a 75-year-old character, they're going to cast someone who's 65 because they don't really want them to look that old. There are very few around. You know, Helen Mirren, oh my God, she looks so beautiful. And you can tell she's a woman of an age, but the work is done. Everybody has work done. Everybody. And I was told at one time, I don't know if you remember, was this in my book? I'm pretty sure it was. Marion Reese was a wonderful producer, and I worked with her on 3 different movies. And the last one I worked with her on, it was taking a long time at night to shoot everything. And she came over to me and said, you know why it's taking so long to shoot, to light for the setup here? No, Marion, it's hard to light you. You look older than the woman you're standing next to. She's had a facelift, and you have not. Unless you get a facelift, you're going to only be able to work with other women who have not had a facelift. Because standing next to her, you don't look so. Now, it sounds like a cruel thing to say. I had to hear that. You know, I never thought of it. I didn't realize how I looked in comparison to somebody else. I always tried not to compare myself because you never come out good. You know? So I had some work done. I had I did my eyes first and got help, and then later I got a full lift. And because she had said, if you want to have 5 more years, you better get a lift. She didn't mean it cruelly. She was helping me and saying something hard to say to someone. But doesn't matter, you know. You get a lift, then you keep on getting older. It doesn't
Yeah.
stop time, you know.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. You know, I don't regret having done it. But what my daughter said to me, my middle daughter Kate, she said, you know, Mom, we don't even know what a 60-year-old woman's supposed to look like anymore.
Right. It's true.
So that's why the barbershop, the wife of the barbershop guy, the one who does your nails, they've all gone to get facelifts because they're all standing in comparison to other people. And it's heartbreaking.
And why should we care? You're beautiful the way you are. I don't know. That's my opinion, but I know
Well,
it's a tough business. Well, when you decided to write your book, you kind of went through in your mind, what do you know, what am I going to talk about? What do I have? And then you said, I figured I could talk about my life and how I changed my thinking. How did
Yeah.
you change your thinking?
Well, first of all, let me say, when they came to me about a book, it was after I came out. And I'm very clear that they wanted a book about coming out. They wanted to hear about, was she, when did she know? When did she figure it out? Was she
Mhm.
in a marriage? And then it was like something on the side. It was like, I'm the most boring person in the world. No, I didn't know. I might have thought about it sometime, but I knew nothing. And my oldest boy's son, Ted, calls me the most optimistic person, always out there. I'm trying. I'll try again. I'll go. How about him? Huh. And they hated everybody I was getting married to. Um, but they wanted to hear about the coming out and all that. They wanted something kind of racy and sordid.
Right.
I don't write that way. Um, and I wanted to write about domestic abuse. I wanted women to read this and go, yes, me too. That happened to me. And yes, I can identify. Yes, it is abuse. I never knew it was abuse. I just thought that I was an inept person. No, I wasn't up to snuff. I wasn't doing what he wanted done. So I just had to be better and find some ways to be better. And there's physical abuse and the emotional. It doesn't matter how times they hit you. It doesn't. It pales in comparison to the emotional abuse, where I felt like I was shredded. I had no self-esteem. I had, but that's where I wrote from, what the lessons were in that. And I wrote about what happened. I think I did this. And then what I told myself, what it meant to me, what I thought it meant about me. And I had to see all the ways I participated. I was not a victim because I participated, because I stayed. And I didn't call it for what it was. I wasn't telling anybody. Nobody knew. That was in a vacuum. It was totally insular. Nobody knew what was going on. For 7 years, I go to work and work with the people I loved dearly and never told them a thing. Because you don't. You don't want anyone to know that humiliation that someone that you're married to has such contempt for you.
Deeply personal. And when you shared it, how did you feel? Did you feel released?
Fuck yes. Is that okay? Yes,
Good.
I did. And I wrote about him. I wrote the truth about him. And my therapist said I took it easy on him. And if I did, it was only because I couldn't bear to write some of the things that happened. Because I read some of the reviews and they said, boy, she sure whines a lot. And I went, yes, yes, I did. Yes, I had a lot to whine about. And it was the first time it was coming to air. And so I probably could have cut back on it. I don't know, but I had an opportunity. So it wasn't until the very end where I go, oh yeah, I decided I was gay. So no one said anything about it in the book. Like, Random House just kind of let it happen. They didn't give me any advice one way or the other. But I wrote it.
Really good book.
Oh,
Really.
so one thing is funny, because this happened well after it was written, and I started doing my nose is running. Sorry. Uh, I was doing the book tour, and I'd say I did maybe 10 talk shows, and I'd say 6 out of 10 of the person who was running the show would say, "Here's Meredith Baxter's book, United." No, it's Untied. Meredith Baxter's book, Untied, or Meredith Baxter Burney's book, United. No, no. Can we go? I'm going to go back in and
You
come
should
out.
have come on my show. I would have got it right.
Yeah, you got it. You got it right.
Okay, let's talk about something good. Tell me about Nancy.
Nancy.
What
Oh,
did Nancy finally give you that you had been looking for all those years? Tell me about her, who she is.
but there's something about women, I think, that I find them truer than men. No offense. I haven't, you know, I haven't had a ton of experience with them, but it wasn't great. And so, and here's something, I'm going to say this to you for the first time. I haven't really said this to anybody. People say, do you think you're born gay or you choose to be gay? And I don't know if I was born gay. But I could say I chose it. And it's more important to me in a way because I chose it, if that's what it was.
Mm.
Because you're not going to question that I want to be a Buddhist as opposed to a Christian, are you? No, you're not going to mess with that. Because that's a deeply felt uh, experience and decision. Very personal. And so I don't know that I'm just went there because I was born there. I really chose her. I tried
And
to.
so many choices have been made for you. This was yours.
Yes. Yeah. And she's honest and funny. Oh my God. And I'm going to tell you a silly story that might be in the book too, but I get to act it out. One of the first times we went out, we lived in LA. I lived in LA at the time when we were dating, and she had to drive back up to Santa Barbara because she had left a big bag of sports equipment here. She was a big jock. And I said, oh, great, let's go. Road trip, love it. And so we go driving up here and get the stuff, we come back. And she's really into music, much more than I am. I can drive in silence. It's peaceful for me. But she was playing air guitar. Some great piece was on the radio that I didn't know. And she was playing air guitar. She goes, bam, she was spinning all over the place. She was just disappearing down. She fell all the way down the seat. It was so, I was just going, yeah, yeah, yeah. There's life. There's experience. There's excitement and joy. She had fucking joy. And I wanted that.
What a great story.
Yeah.
What a great story. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time. I did want to say there was a story in the book that I loved that I wanted to mention
Go
before we
ahead.
said goodbye. You talk about feeling truly happy when you would walk through neighborhoods and watch families through their windows,
Oh, yeah.
like they're laughing and hugging and eating dinner and just being a family. And you have 5 kids now. Do you enjoy being a mom? Are you
I
proud of?
do.
Yeah,
I do. I
sounds
don't
like
think I
you're a
was a
great
very
mom.
good mom for a long time because I was so bloody unhappy. And I didn't really have a lot to give them. Um, particularly my oldest, my two oldest, I was more a friend. We go to the playground and I play on all the equipment with them. I had no maturity or insights or anything. I just loved them. But I got better. I got better at it. And there's Ted and Eva, and Ted's in Hanover, New Hampshire, and Eva is here in Santa Clarita, and Kate is in Connecticut, and Peter and Molly, my twins, are in Portland, and I'm leaving in 2 days to go up and see them and their children.
Do they all come home and see mom
They do periodically,
during
they
the
don't all
holidays?
at the same time, but it's, I love them, and they're good people. They're
So
smart.
Meredith, what do you want to be now when you grow up?
I'll settle for just a little bit older.
Okay. You're a great painter. Is there anywhere that I can send people to see your work?
No, I used to have a website for a long time ago. I had some
Like,
paintings that I'd be selling them, but
it's for yourself?
yeah, I have sold a few, but I was always so protected, and so I was so afraid of being laughed at that I didn't ever,
Hmm.
I didn't continue to put that out there.
Well, I would love to see them, and I promise I would never laugh.
I
Um,
feel that now, but that's why I never did. I might at some point because I'm kind of working on an art project now that I think may have some legs.
well, when you do, let's you come back. Hopefully, we can talk about that and help you
Okay.
get the word out. So, I really, again, and bottom of my heart, I'm so thankful for our time together today. Thank you for giving me this time and this opportunity. I find you even more interesting now, Meredith.
Uh-oh.
Thank you for such a great conversation today.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
All
Love
right.
talking to you.
Yeah, it was great talking to you.
Good talk.
Communicate, but listen more and
Yeah.
evolve. Everybody have a great day
And be curious.
and be curious. And what else?
Ask questions because you're curious.
I like that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Meredith.
Bye.
Meredith Baxter.